أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا بالقاسم محمد وعلى إثرة الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Real Talk is back after a long break, and I would like to introduce Nishat Dossa today, who has kindly agreed to be interviewed today for Real Talk. So, Alhamdulillah, thank you, Nishat, for agreeing. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Yeah, I was born and bred in London and brought up by my parents. I have one older brother, older sister. I am the baby of the family, so I've always been quite spoilt and cotton-wooled my whole life. I got married in 2002. I now have 2 children, and I am a primary teacher.
Brilliant. Your kids, you've got boys or girls, or?
I've got one 15-year-old girl, Asia, and Muhammad Kamal is 11. So he's just started high school, and Asia's doing GCSEs.
Like sort of teenage years, the fun years.
Yeah, the fun years. But alhamdulillah, I've been lucky. I've been lucky. No moods yet.
Alhamdulillah. So a year ago, roughly, you got some.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, just over a year ago.
You got some very unexpected news.
Yep.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and what led to that news and how it all came about?
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer in October last year. All my life I have had tummy issues. I've had digestive issues, and the GPs just said it was IBS, and it's very common. And they kept saying it's very common. And I've had anemia since I can remember, actually.
Okay.
Actually, since my daughter was born, so 15 years, I've been anemic, iron tablets on and off. And I went to the GP quite a few times in all those years.
Did it get worse? What sort of led you to go to the GP at the time? Was it getting worse, or were there other symptoms?
I think it was more noticeable because obviously when you have kids, then you need to do more. So then I realized I was getting really tired, and I wasn't able to do these things that I should be able to do. I could see everybody else doing it. Why am I getting so tired? Pick the kids up from school, exhausted. So I went to the GP and they said, welcome to motherhood. So 2 different GPs said, welcome to motherhood. I said, okay, fine. And you've not done it before, so you don't know. So I did think, okay, fine. So they prescribed me iron tablets. And they said, take them. And then when you feel better, stop taking them. And then take them again when you need it. So obviously having not that much time to think for yourself, look after yourself, as you know, with motherhood, I just let it go. And with IBS, there's just very different things going on. You spend a lot of time in the toilet. And it just took over. It did take over my life in a way, but I just let it go. I just brushed it under the carpet. Went to the GP maybe 4 or 5 times in all those years, in about 15 years. I probably, in hindsight, should have gone and kicked up a bit of a fuss, but you don't know, right? Because it's my first time. I don't, even just living, you don't know. Maybe that's how digestive systems work. But in hindsight, I wish I had gone earlier, because with cancer, I have learned now, I didn't know before, because alhamdulillah, I didn't really know anybody with that close. But you find it out earlier, it's treatable, and there's so much out there now, medical research, everything's just advanced so much. So stage 1, stage 2, if it's caught at that stage, inshallah, it's a lot easier to cure. So with me, they did say that we can't promise curing because it's stage 4.
So when you were, sorry, I'm going to keep interrupting you. I'm so sorry.
Please do.
When you were told finally that it was cancer and it was stage 4, at that point, did you think, well, you know what, I was going to the doctor, why didn't they pick it up? Was there that sort of anger, frustration, or blame, or?
Not blame. I think I've always been one to just accept, and I know that things happen for a reason. So I've always been like that. So I didn't blame as such, but family members and, you know, people who knew me, they started feeling that, oh, why didn't we tell you to go to the GP quicker? Or we saw you suffering, we should have done something. But it's not, you find out when you're meant to find out, and that's all in Allah's hands.
Wow.
So no, the GP did call me to apologize. And
Wow.
she said, she goes, I'm really sorry, I've heard the news and I should have sent you, but at that age, at your age, it's really rare. So that's why we didn't refer you soon enough.
And then when they told you, the moment that they told you, who were you with?
Okay, so
how did you react?
I went for a colonoscopy, not expecting anything. I thought it might be, I thought it was IBS. So I thought they might say, okay, there's ulcers or something. So I went for a colonoscopy. They said it wouldn't be very painful, which it normally isn't, but they couldn't get through. So they got through the colon halfway and it got stuck and it was so painful. And this was with a bit of sedation. And then they put me in the room, and then she came, the doctor came in and she said, well, we've seen this. And she showed me the picture of the colon. And she showed me it. It looked nasty. I mean, I have no medical knowledge, but it looked nasty. And she just came out with it. I was half awake, half asleep, and my husband was with me. And she just came out with it. And she goes, in my experience, this looks like cancer.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm going to send you downstairs right now. This is at Norfolk Park, to have a CT scan. So as you can imagine, I was just completely gobsmacked.
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine.
Obviously my husband was as well. Yeah. So my reaction was, but there is a bit of a chance that it could be benign. Like it could just be nothing. There is a bit of a chance, right?
You're such an optimist. Alhamdulillah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's that hope, right? You want there to be some hope. You look for that little light. And she looked at me, and when she looked at me, I kind of knew from her look, but I still didn't. And when she left, she goes, okay, I'm going to send you for an emergency CT scan downstairs right now. So have a bit of tea and biscuit, and then we can go down. And she left, and I looked at my husband, and I said the same thing to him. I was like, yeah, but there's still a chance, right? That it could just be nothing. I mean, yeah.
What was your husband's reaction?
I think he was being more realistic. He's a pharmacist. And he's got a medical background, so he kind of knew as well. But he did say he said, yeah, like they can, yeah, there's always hope. There's always hope, so we'll just see. I mean, we'd planned to go out for lunch after this. It wasn't meant to be a thing. It was just, you know, we'll just have the colonoscopy and it'll be done. And then we move on.
Okay, so then you were told.
Then I went to get the CT scan done. That confirmed it. I think the next day, I think we got the results, and they called us back in to give the results, which, yeah, it was a shock because I was still hoping that, no, they're just going to turn around and say it's okay. My husband was preparing me that, okay, it could be whatever it is, we will face it and we will get over it. You just got to keep an open mind. I was being a little bit stubborn and just saying, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. So I think that's why it did shock me. So when I found the news out, I was shocked.
Were you told straight away that it was stage 4, or when did you hear that it was stage 4?
Straight away.
Okay.
Straight away, because they needed to act straight away. And I mean, I had a lump in my colon. It was a tumor. I could feel it. So the reason I went to the doctor was because I could actually feel it. And I just thought it was gas. So the reason I'm saying this is because I want people to speak up if you're feeling this discomfort. If there's issues, you know, if you're getting diarrhea and constipation, it's not always just IBS. It is. But doctors very easily say it's IBS, and they very easily say Asian people get anemic, get over it. But there's always a reason. So this tumor, I thought it was just gas, and then I told my husband, just, you know, feel this. And he realized there was something wrong. So we went immediately to get it checked. And that's why we were sent for the colonoscopy and all of that. So they said that there was a tumor, 10 centimeters in diameter, which is what I could feel. And I think this was a Tuesday or Wednesday of the week. And they called me on Friday and said they want to operate on me, emergency operation on Monday. So I had 2 days to prepare the kids, everyone, just everything, mentally, logistically. Alhamdulillah, I've got my family. I've got so many people around me who helped me. So somebody actually messaged me and said, take help, accept help. You know, as a human, it's very hard for us to accept help, especially, I don't know, especially as a woman, I don't know, as a mom, you just feel like you need to do everything yourself. It was really hard, but I really took that advice on, because that was the day that I was told that I'm going to have this major operation on Monday, and I was leaving my kids, all of it, like I was packing their bags and everything every single day for them, make their lunches, make sure they do their homework, and I just had to leave all of that to someone else. How
did you prepare your children? What did you tell them?
Okay, so when we found out that day, I did burst out crying after accepting it. We had a conversation outside the hospital, me, my husband, and my brother. And my major concern was going home and telling the family that I had cancer. It's just the word cancer. I just feel like the word cancer just people's, I don't know, it's just there's a stigma attached to cancer that people just think it's the end of the world. Like, that's it. But there's so many illnesses out there. It's just that this one is the one that everybody knows everywhere. Even in movies, if somebody's dying, it's always cancer. And I just really was scared of saying that word to the family and the kids, because you Google up cancer and it's not good. So I not accepted it. I didn't accept it, but I tried to kind of get it all out my system before I went home. The kids were at home with my sister. So we called her up and told her, which must have been really hard for her. But then at the same time, I needed to get home and tell the kids. Stopped at McDonald's on the way home. As you do. I needed to get it out of my system before I got home, so I didn't want to cry in front of the kids. I had some straws, so got the straws, and I literally just went home and I told them, okay, there's something in the colon, and they're going to get it out. There's a tumor, and I just drew it. I had some straws, and I actually drew the colon. This is the teacher coming out, and I drew the colon with the straws, and I showed them, okay, here is the tumor, and we're going to do an operation to get it out, and then inshallah everything will be okay. So at this point, even in my head, I thought that was it. I thought I'd just get the tumor removed, and inshallah, if everything goes to plan, I'll be okay.
Sorry, your children must have had lots of questions.
Actually, no.
Okay.
My daughter is not really one for a lot of questions. I know she's very mature, mashallah, for her age. Muhammad Kamal, 10 years old. Yeah, he asked some questions afterwards, but they didn't really get it. I don't even think I said the word cancer. I didn't say that. I just said there's a lump and they're going to get it out, because I only had 2 days. I didn't want to say it and then I don't know. I just needed to just get the operation done. So I don't know if I actually said the word cancer to them. I just said there's a tumor.
So now you're sort of in 2 days preparing everything for your kids, leaving the house, getting yourself mentally prepared, physically prepared for this huge operation.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a major operation. At the time, I didn't realize. I didn't have time to digest how huge it actually was. So yeah, I mean, I've got moms, all the kids were at moms, and everybody helped out. I think God just gave everything that I needed at that time. And
maybe if you'd had longer to think about it, it would have maybe been worse.
Yeah.
Maybe in a way that was better for you.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So then you went for this operation.
Yeah. So went for the operation. It was meant to be. He said it could be quite long, up to 10 hours. But alhamdulillah, I think it was done in about 5 hours, something like that. Obviously, I was anesthetized, so I didn't really know. I can't remember how long it was, but it wasn't as long as they thought. And alhamdulillah, it went really well. They did draw a stoma bag on my stomach. And he said that there is a high chance that you'll come out with a stoma bag because we might have to remove the whole colon. Alhamdulillah. The first question I asked when I came back was, "Is that?" I mean, I don't know if it would. I don't know if it's not necessarily a bad thing getting a stoma bag. But that was the first question I asked him, and he said no, we didn't need to. We've managed to get out the tumor without taking the whole colon out. So alhamdulillah, that was good. And then I said to him that you were going to go away. So really good doctor, alhamdulillah, that a really good surgeon that I got. And he was going to go away on Monday. So I said to him, I was half awake, half asleep. I said, when are you going to go away? So he goes, do you know, I didn't want to tell you at the time, but I was worried that you might not make it the weekend.
Oh my God.
So I wanted to do this for you, but I didn't want to tell you then. Because he said if that tumor burst, the chances would have been quite low.
Wow.
So he said he actually delayed his trip so that he could do this. And we did it very early in the morning. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. It must have been so difficult for your husband just waiting while you were in the operating theatre.
Yeah, seriously. I prayed for him because it's so much easier for me because I'm asleep. And I've always thought I lost my dad 7 years ago, and his brother I lost 5 years ago. So they were both very close to me. I've kind of been brought up with two parents because my dad's brother was married to my mum's sister. So it's almost like two parents. So I lost two dads quite close together. And I've lost my train of thought. This is chemo brain. I can't remember what I was saying. My close ones know that I do this all the time. I lose my train of thought. So you have to remind me what I was saying.
That's fine. You were talking about the fact that how difficult it must have been for your husband because
yes. Yeah. So I remember when they were unwell, the way I used to console myself and everybody else was that it's so much it's harder for us, and I feel that yes, they're going through a lot, but deep down I always thought that okay, then hopefully they're not going through as much as we're seeing. It's more for us to see and a reminder from God to us that this is a temporary life.
Wow.
And I've always felt, even when I just feel really bad for everybody, like I would not have been able to. I was telling my sister that if this was you, I wouldn't have been able to care for you the way you care for me, because it's so much harder to be a carer than actually. I don't know, but I think that is the case, because when you're a patient, you're just, especially if it's an operation, you're literally knocked out. And with pain and everything, there's painkillers and stuff, and the people watching are literally sitting there waiting, and for him it must have been really long.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. And I suppose the verse in the Holy Quran which talks where Allah tells us that he only tests you with what we can handle really plays in here, because it's like you're saying, you may not have been able to handle what your sister's handling, and she may not have been able to handle what you're handling. So it really plays true here.
Yeah, definitely.
So, once the operation was over, what was the next sort of?
So I stayed in hospital for 2 weeks. Kids were at home at mum's. It was just, I mean, it was a major operation, so I had 6 to 8 weeks of recovery, and then they broke it to me that okay, that's not actually it. Now we need to do chemo. So it was nice in a way that they let it gently, because they didn't want to bombard me with all this information as soon as I found out. So it was a bit hard for me to accept that this is not it actually, because now they need to. It had spread to other parts of my body, so it had spread to the liver and lymph nodes. So a lot of lymph nodes were affected, so they needed to treat it with chemotherapy.
So initially, when you found out, was there any sort of why me, or God, why have you done this to me, or anything like that? Truth at the beginning.
I tell you, my first thought, I've actually just realized now that you've asked me, was I'm so glad that my dad and my papa are not here to see this, because they would not have been able to handle it. Wow. And I thanked God for that. I was like, okay, now I understand, because there's always a reason that things happen, and I missed them to bits, and it was really, really hard to lose them. But I'm the baby of the house, literally. They would not have been able to see me go through this. So that was my first thought.
Wow.
That was my first thought. I was thinking that's one of the reasons why they were taken early.
That's amazing. Okay, so you managed to get through this huge hurdle. You were given this huge news, and you got your head around it. You had the operation, thinking, well, that's it. And then you're given another curveball where you're told now you've got to have chemo. And it's like, usually it's like, when you get through one hardship, you think, okay, that's it. And then you get another one, and it sort of just throws you even further back. Did that happen, or how?
It did happen. I don't know. It's God. God gave me the strength to deal with everything. Literally, I did get down and I did cry. I actually attended this parenting course 2 years prior to this, which taught me how to cry and let it all out. And I'm so glad that I actually managed to learn that's the way that I outlet. So I cried, and I just feel so much better after that. And I always had my husband there. He has been my rock. So he knows what to do now. He just waits there for me to cry. It's like, oh, you haven't cried in a while. Do you need to cry? I'll do it by myself, or if he's there, or I just cry. And I did. And then I just thought, okay, now I need to the next step. And you're constantly thinking of your kids. I never realized this. I heard it from people. But that is what got me through. That my kids need me, not just my own kids, but there's so many kids in our family, and they all need me. That's why I kept thinking I need to take this next hurdle, and whatever next hurdle comes my way.
That's amazing. I suppose the lesson from that is God sends opportunities, and when we take those opportunities, then we grow from that. So the opportunity of you going to that parenting class and learning how to, let out your emotions. If you hadn't taken that opportunity, then it would have been even more difficult than it already was.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that really, really helped me. And also writing. So since a young age, I've always written a diary, but on my bedside table, got a diary I write in. When I started the chemo, one of the side effects was that I couldn't feel my hands and fingers. So I couldn't write, which was really hard for me because everything was getting built up inside. And I could feel it. I was just getting down. Physically, I was down anyway because the major operation. I couldn't walk and things like that. But mentally, I could feel myself. I need an outlet. I was talking to people, but it's like writing that I was missing. And then I remember one of the kids said to me that, why don't you write on the laptop? You can talk and it can write down what you're saying. All this techno stuff, which I didn't really know, but it was nice that they told me. So I started writing, and that really, really helped me.
And that this is the blog that you write, which is accessible to everyone.
Yeah. I have sent it to initially when I started writing. Actually, it was because I had so many overwhelming messages and calls of people just really showing a lot of love and care, and I just thought, they wanted to do something to help me. They wanted to know what I was going through, and I felt so touched that everybody wanted to know and be a part of my journey with me. And I thought I started writing and sending it on our family groups, just also because I was very tired. I couldn't tell everybody the same story. So I just started writing and sendending it on our family WhatsApp group.
But it's not just for the family, it's for everyone, right? Because I know I have access to it, I've read it. It's amazing. Yeah,
it's not anymore. And I mean, that's what God wanted. And if I can help anybody, even if it's one person, I just thought, okay, it's fine. Again, that was encouraged by all the kids in the family.
I think that's really, really amazing. And again, I think if you don't mind, I'd like to draw a few lessons here from that, because one is that, like you said, it was encouraged by the children. And I think they have a very different way of looking at it. I think we as older generation tend to have a very cultural way of looking at things. So this concept of, not sharing what you're going through, not telling other people what's happening in our lives, is very sort of a cultural way of looking at things. And I think though the kids don't have that, which alhamdulillah, they pushed you to do this, because I know I've learned a lot from reading your blogs, and it's amazing. I mean, although I've not been through anything like, any cancer or anyone, like that, but just how you look at things and how positive you are, and the colors that you sort of talk about at the end, and I'll ask you to explain that in a little bit. But there's just so much learning from your blog that I personally have taken on board, and I think it's absolutely amazing. And I know since I started reading your blog, I will remember you in my dua. It's like, at the end when I ask for shifa for those who are ill, your name will pop up. So I'm not saying my duas are powerful, but I'm sure there is someone out there whose dua is really, really powerful. And because you put yourself out there and your story out there, you may get someone praying for you who you would never have thought of asking for duas from.
Honestly, I've been so touched by people messaging me that I thought of you in labor, or I thought of you in Hajj, or people who I don't even, some of them I don't even know. I just know their name, or it comes through somebody, or they just drop it off at the doorstep. And our community, we're so blessed to have this community. I mean, I've always known, but now I've experienced it firsthand. People just are giving and loving, and just duas from everywhere.
And the power of duas, right? The power of duas is so amazing.
Yeah.
It's
and like I said, you don't know whose prayers are being accepted. I was even at the mosque, even in majlises, people were praying for me. In churches, I had friends who were saying, "Oh, in my church, they prayed for you." You don't know whose prayers are accepted.
And also the other positive thing that comes out of this is obviously you have an outlet, so you're sort of letting go of all the negativity that may be building up. And also, like you're saying, if it helps one person, because I know one of the things that you mentioned was that you wish there'd been someone there that you could have sort of talked it through with, who'd been through a similar experience, or even something that they'd been through, that they could actually sort of say to you, look, this is how it's going to play out. And so you're being that person for someone else who may be going through that.
I hope so. I mean, I pray that people are not, don't have this kind of illness to cope with. And so, but I mean, this is life. Everybody is going to go through some suffering. But yeah, I mean, if there is anyone out there who needs, I would so happily be there for them and just talk them through it. I know it's not everybody's way, but for me, it was. I wanted to know what was going to happen. And even now, I'm still in the journey. So I've just finished chemotherapy. I've been off it for 3 weeks now, which has been nice, because I'm not. Normally, I'm just out of it completely. I would not be able to hold a conversation right now, and I am a little bit still. I can feel my brain is still a little bit slow. And as you saw, I just lost my train of thought.
Doing amazing, absolutely amazing.
I kind of going into my next step, which is radiotherapy now, because they said the chemotherapy I've had for a year now. So they're saying that the chemo's done its job. Now we're going to try a different route. So we're going to try radiotherapy. But again, I don't know anybody who's had it for this cancer. Another thing that I have learned is that all cancers are different. And every single stage of every single different type of cancer is completely different. I used to think chemotherapy was one type of thing. Like, okay, one person's got chemotherapy. Oh, now I know 2 people having it. It must be the same. It's not. It's not at all. And
I suppose how your body reacts to it must be so different as well, right? Because everyone's body is so different.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I mean, and the fact that I'm young, which the doctors keep saying that because I'm young, my body's coping with it well, alhamdulillah.
Before your brother's just written, you've forgotten to say how great your brother is.
Oh, yeah, my brother is amazing.
Alhamdulillah, I'm sure he is. Before we go into the actual chemo and the treatment and everything, if you could just mention the colors in your blog that you write about. I think that's so beautiful.
Okay, so this actually happened. So I was thinking of doing this blog, thinking all night, okay, what shall I call it? What should we call it, kind of thing. Again, the kids were involved. So it was raining outside. I opened the door to get some fresh air. I just had this operation. So slowly waddled to the door and opened the door, big rainbow outside, literally. Wow. So the kids and I think one of the kids said it. Why don't you call it rainbow? So I called it my rainbow, and then we were looking for all the different colors in there. And I said something about praying namaz on the floor, because after the operation I was praying on a chair. And I said, oh, it's amazing that I get to pray on a chair, because I can see the beautiful garden outside. I was at my mom's house at this point. And I was saying I can see the beautiful garden right in the Qibla, right in that way. So then I just thought of it from that, like that's finding the colours in every situation. So
and that's looking at the positives in every
the
situation, right?
positives, that's right, yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
Brilliant.
that's what I meant. I'm looking for the positives in every situation. So anything that you have, it is hard. I'm not saying it's easy. It's really, really hard. It's getting easier the more I do it. But in every situation, there is a colour. There is some sort of positive in every situation. This year, I have seen so many colours, so many positives in what has happened. I'm not the person I was last year. And I thank God for it. Because yes, it's been really, really hard, but I was in a rat race. I was just rushing, going to work, getting the kids, dropping the kids, making dinner, putting them to bed. And now he's given me a chance to rethink everything. He's literally just like stopped me and said, listen, this is such a temporary life. Make the most of every moment. And I've been given that. I haven't worked all year. I've just spent time with the kids. And now there's lockdown, so I've got more time with the kids and myself. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. There's obviously been a lot of growth in you in this year as well, and so I suppose that would probably be a huge positive in the growth that's come about, and your journey towards God. How has that been? Is it better, worse, about the same?
Oh, definitely better. Definitely, I feel so much closer to him. In fact, there was one time when I know I can remember it so clearly. So I had to go for scans every month. So I have an MRI scan in the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
So in that tunnel, my husband was with me when we went to the hospital. But then when I go into that tunnel, I'm all alone. And I was so scared and I started shaking and I was really nervous. And the lady said, you need to be still in this. So I said, yeah, I know. I'm anxious. It's my first time. And then I went into the tunnel and I was just thinking, I'm all alone here. Like, yes, my husband's here, but he's outside. And then I realized that's, I don't know, something happened and I realized that, no, I'm not alone. God is there. Like, he's there. Talk to him. And literally at that point, I just started talking to him. And since then, I'm talking to him about every little thing, even deciding what color M&M I'm going to eat. I'm talking to God. And it's something that's really beautiful to be able to talk to him. I don't talk loudly, I just talk in my head. But it's just amazing to be able to talk to him because he is the one who's going to be there all the time. I'm so glad I did that because with lockdown, nobody's actually allowed to come into the hospital either. So when I'm going into these tunnels and just being there alone, I'm there with him. He's there with me. He's there with me, supporting me. And it's made me open up and just be open to the world, to life.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. No, that honestly, I was just thinking when you were talking, it's like that is what taqwa is, right? That God consciousness, having God, being aware of God in your life in every aspect. So it's you've actually, it's like what we work towards, you've actually managed to achieve through your journey. It's amazing. It's like you're saying, with every decision, it's like, you talk it through with God. So it's like that is God consciousness. That is what taqwa is. So wow, I'm blown by all of this. It's amazing. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
I pray that I continue. It's easy to, when you're in it, he gives you that strength. And I find that is so much easier. So I had a few weeks break when we went into lockdown initially because all the chemo stopped. And in that time, I already saw myself slipping. I already saw that I wasn't talking to him as much as I was when I was in hardship. And that's the hard thing, is keeping that taqwa and keeping that talk with him and that closeness to God. Everything, I could see it in myself. I was slipping. I started going back to my old ways and everything. And that's something I really don't want to go back to, inshallah, once I'm, done with all of this treatment. I keep telling my loved ones as well, that please make sure I don't go back to my old ways, just the rat race and just, I don't want to. I want to just stay like that. I want to be able to talk to him all the time.
No, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I think like the fact that you're talking to your family members and loved ones and asking for their help to try to keep it going, inshallah, when you get better, you will be able to, inshallah. Someone's actually just written here that they would like to, if you could share the link for your blog, they would love to read it. Is there?
Okay. Yeah, there is a link. Should I say it or?
Yeah, if you can.
Okay, it's called myrainbow786.home.blog.
So My Rainbow.
786.
All together, right?
Yeah.
With no spaces, all small letters.
Yeah.
Dot.
Home.
Dot home.
Blog.
Dot blog. Are you able to?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll put it on the chat. So hopefully, someone, if anyone wants to look at it, they can get it.
So with that, it's literally just me writing as if I'm writing my own diary. So forgive me. I mean, if there's going to be errors. I don't even read through it after. It's like I'm writing my own diary on my bedside table. I don't read through it, and I don't write in it as much anymore. It's when I don't write, it's probably a good time for me because I'm enjoying life and doing stuff.
I think honestly, I'm glad you don't read over it, because I feel like it's from the heart and it's very authentic, and you know, you can feel that sincerity and that sort of authenticity that comes out when you're reading it. It's beautiful. I like I said, I have learned a lot from your blog, so thank you personally.
No, thank you
for that. Yeah, so we were talking about the chemo. How, I mean, you were told initially that you would have how many sessions, and then how many?
I was told I'd have 4 cycles. So my oncologist is great. She knows how my mind works, and she's doing it all step by step. So she told me 4 sessions, and then another 4 sessions, and then another 4 sessions. So we had 16 sessions altogether.
Wow.
Yeah, so my last one finished a couple of weeks ago.
And
normally,
how do you feel during, before, after?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of things going on when you have it. The one that I had was intravenous, so I'd go into hospital for like 5 or 6 hours, and they'd put it in you. And when it went in, I started to feel the side effects quite immediately as soon as it's done. And then I would be sent home with a bottle attached to myself for 3 days. And then the medicine would go in slowly through that. And by day 3, everything's in. And then I would feel very confused. I would start just saying funny things and very honest. So I become extremely honest during this. I'm still, you know, I'm still in it. I don't think before I speak. I just say it how it is. Sickness, nausea. I mean, the good thing is that there is medicine to treat every single side effect. So I was wearing gloves, and because my fingers basically chemo kills any cells that are fast growing. So it started killing my nerve endings. Hair, this one doesn't do the hair. So initially, my idea of chemo, and I think a lot of people's idea of chemo, is you lose your hair, you become really skinny, your eyes go in, and you get dark eyes, and you can't eat. So no, none of that. I mean, I could eat, and I was given steroids, so I was eating more than I normally do. I've actually put on. Those people who know me probably tell from my face I have actually put on. It's okay. It's okay. It's hard. It's really hard. But there's stuff to counteract everything. So my fingers, I wouldn't be able to hold something. It would be like a frostbite, you know, like when you touch something, like, and even my feet as well. So, I mean, once again, if I didn't have family and loved ones nearby to help me, I wouldn't be able to have got through all of this, because I wouldn't have been able to even hold a spoon or a knife, or I couldn't do any of that.
Wow.
So yeah, there's lots of side effects.
Yeah. And I think what you've made quite clear is it's different for different chemos and for different people as well. So I think that's quite an eye opener, because like you're saying, most people when they hear of chemo, they think hair loss, weight loss, you know.
No, I mean, I don't know if it's changed over the years. Maybe it must have. Maybe it was like that before, but now, I mean, if you keep the dialogue open between yourself and the oncologist, you can prevent everything.
Was there at any point, and feel free not to answer this question if you're not comfortable answering, was there at any point that you felt, I've had enough. I just want to stop, and I just want it all to end.
Yeah, I get those times. I do get that.
How do you
I do
deal
get
with that?
It's normally in the middle of the night, and I normally tell my husband. And it's normally in the first week of chemo, and he reminds me every time that, okay, this happened last time, and it's happened all the times before, and you will be fine next week. So, and I know by day 5, day 6 after chemo, I can already feel the side effects going. Right now it's week 3, and you can see like I'm fine.
Alhamdulillah.
But it's just when you're in it and you've got all these different things going on. For me, it was the nausea, which was quite hard to deal with. But anti-sickness tablets, amazing.
Alhamdulillah. I think, I think realizing that as Muslims, we really don't have a choice to stop treatment. We have to continue it, because you have to do whatever you can to prolong your life, even if it's by a day or so. You have to take that treatment, and I think that's really difficult, because some people may think, you know what, I don't want this treatment. I just want it to just end. But like you're saying, it's like there is so much growth in going through that hardship, not only for you, but I'm sure for your family as well.
Yeah,
there must be so much that they've learned and grown from, your the kids around you, your mum and your brothers and sisters, and brother and sister, and your husband, obviously. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I've to be honest, I've just been thinking about myself this year. So, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is, but I that's one thing which I've just prioritized myself this year completely. Everything. I mean, I've been looking after myself.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Now you've got radiotherapy going ahead.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling about that?
I'm anxious. It's the fear of the unknown. Alhamdulillah, the hospital is right behind the house. I've got to go in every day. So with radiotherapy, it's a bit different. You go in every day. With chemo, it was going once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
With radiotherapy, you go in every day. I'm yet to find out what exactly it entails, but side effects are similar because it's on the stomach area.
Yeah.
Like I said, it had spread, so we dealt with the colon. I had another operation after that as well. I had a liver operation. That liver operation was not as big as the initial one. So we've got rid of all of that. Radiotherapy is to get rid of the lymph nodes now. There's some affected lymph nodes. And inshallah, only God knows what happens after that. But we're always hopeful, and inshallah, it will be going the right way.
Inshallah, inshallah. We've got, on this channel, we've got 169 people viewing. I don't know how many there are on the actual YouTube channel and so forth, but I'm sure all of us, every single one of everyone who's watching is praying for your recovery and your shifa, inshallah. So
that's what's helped me so far, inshallah. You told me it was just me and you on this. You scared me. I thought it was just me and you.
Sorry, I should have waited till the end to mention that. I'm so
we
sorry.
had a deal.
I'm so sorry. I forgot. You're doing so well. I totally forgot. You're such a natural. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. It's amazing. You've got so many people. Just going into the chat. I don't, if you can see it. You've got so many people talking about what an amazing person you are, how positive you are. How incredible you are, and how you look at you're inspirational, with an incredible outlook on life and a beautiful attitude. You've got lots and lots of love hearts coming through. So many.
It's not me. It's God and my support network.
No, alhamdulillah, it's amazing. It's like,
sorry, God.
No, it's fine. Everyone's saying how they're praying for you, and they're so glad that to hear about your journey, and lots of love and du'as. It's amazing. And someone's written, we've all learned something from your journey. One of the biggest things that this person's learned is to say alhamdulillah, no matter what situation I'm in. Her positivity makes me go on and get through difficulty, and it's so true. It's unbelievable. I think that idea of looking at others and seeing how they deal with things makes you realize that the strength that God gives you before he gives you a hardship, and you just have to then hold on to that strength.
Yeah, that reminds me of something. I don't know how much time we've got left.
We've got
Um,
time, don't worry.
it reminds me of something that actually happened when initially I started writing a blog, and I'm not one to come up with Quran ayats. I mean, I know the gist of it, but I saw this ayat, and it was, with every difficulty comes ease. And on my blog, I wrote, after every difficulty comes ease. And a friend of mine messaged me and she said, actually, it's not after, it's with. So during your difficulty, he will give you things to help you through. And that has
Your
stuck in my
colours.
head so much. I was so glad that she corrected me, because it's such a huge difference.
Yeah.
It's not after your difficulty that he then gives you like a reward or anything. He's there. And literally with every hardship, every single thing I've been through, there's been ways there've been people who have sent to me, books that have been sent to me, or I've just seen stuff outside. They're all signs everywhere. And I just feel like I've opened up to see all of that. Maybe it must have all been there all these years, but I just didn't give it the time. But now I'm actually giving that time and just trying to stay positive, staying away from anything that makes me feel sad. Obviously, there's things that make you feel sad, but anything that I can control, I stay away from. Anything that pulls me down, because it's made me realize that we're all worth it, and we all need to prioritize ourselves and look for his help everywhere, because he's literally babying us through everything if we let him.
That's the thing, isn't it? If we let him.
If
I
we
think
let
it's like
him.
he sends us opportunities, he sends us help, he sends us tools to be able to handle it, but it's we that refuse to take those tools and use them, or take
Yeah,
those opportunities, or take that help. Like you're saying, the fact that, I think one of the first things that you said was to actually accept help
yeah,
when it's offered to you.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and we tend not to, because we don't see it as opportunity sent by God. We actually sort of see it as, I don't know, whether it's my ego stopping me, or whether it's, will I owe this person something? It's all these things go round and round in your head. And it's like, if you actually see it as God sending this person into your life to help you, why would you not take it?
exactly. And I started doing it. I mean, I probably took it a bit too far, but when people asked me, I would literally tell them what to do. So if they'll
That's
say,
brilliant.
can I pick the kids up from school and take them for a play date? Yeah, sure. What time? Yeah, just take them, whatever. Or are you craving anything? Yes, I am. I'm craving, I don't know, something. And they'll pick it up and drop it off to me. And the reason I started, I realized that if I was in their position, or in the future, if I've got somebody who I know, I want them to tell me what to do, because they want to do it.
Yeah,
And it's an opportunity for them to do something for you. And
exactly.
I remember asking my mum, I just told her to do this. Like, isn't that really bad? Like, but it's fine, because they want to help. So why not
No,
let them have the opportunity.
no, I
Accept
think
help.
it's
And you're
really
not weak to do that.
not at all. I think it takes a lot of strength, because you're having to break your ego to actually then ask for help. And I think, like you're saying, it's an opportunity that you're giving to others to serve Allah through serving His creation. So I think it's really beautiful that you're allowing people to actually then serve Allah through serving you, and you're giving
Yeah.
them that that opportunity, which is so beautiful, and it's such a refreshing way of looking at it. So thank you for that again.
I didn't think of it like that, but I'm thinking of it like that now. It's true. You're giving, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
It is, right? It's an
Yeah,
amazing opportunity, and again, opportunities only come from Allah. So,
yeah,
yeah, and like, I think just as you're being open and saying what you need or what you want, not even what you need, what you want, the other person would then feel comfortable enough saying, well, I can't do it this week, I'll do it next week, or you know what, I can't do it, is it okay if you tell me something else? And it's again having those open conversations and being truthful to each other, rather than all these I don't know, masks that we put on, and all these airs
yeah.
that we have, and kota nakhra sort of thing.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
really, really refreshing. Alhamdulillah, it's amazing. Before we finish, you are very, very inspirational. I love the way that you look at things. You also mentioned that it wasn't easy to look at the positives initially, but it's getting easier. So again, I
It
think
is, yeah, hard.
that's a
Very hard.
huge learning, that it may not come naturally, but it's a once you decide to do this, then you just work at it, and it does become part and parcel of who you are. I suppose also one of the things that maybe you've realized is, which we're told constantly, is that we can control our own emotions and we can decide to be sad or happy. A lot of people will sort of say, you know, I'm constantly sad, or I'm really upset, or I'm really, you know, but it's taking control and deciding the outcome that you want from the feelings that you have and the emotions that you have, and controlling that. How can you just mention that a little bit? Have you done that?
I think it is literally just looking for all the positives, and I try not to dwell on any negative things. So right now I'm talking about my operation and the diagnosis, but I haven't spoken about it for a long time because I just feel like it's done, and I'm now looking at tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, even the negatives, I suppose, are not really negatives if they allow us to bring to get closer to Allah, right? So in a roundabout way, even that is a positive, because the outcome is so amazing, again, if we take it on. So even if someone is suddenly told that they have cancer, as long as that cancer allows them to move on their journey towards Allah, then that cancer is actually a positive thing in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it reminds me of something that somebody told my husband, his aunt told him, that now you and Nishat will get to spend a lot more time with each other, because she knows that we've had like really busy life. He's at work all the time and everything. And we did in the hospital when I had the operation. It wasn't lockdown, so he was allowed to be there with me, and we actually did. We had a lot more time with each other than we ever have. So there you go. That's the positive in that. I was in pain and everything, but I didn't think about that. I had my husband next to me for watching TV.
Alhamdulillah. And your sister's just written, yeah, it's like you're your own remote. You decide which switch to flick on and flick off. Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Totally.
Amazing. Before we finish, if I was to ask you, what words of advice or would you like to leave the listeners with? What would you like to tell them, which would help them on their journey towards Allah?
I would say, like I just said about prioritizing yourself. You deserve it. You know, meditation or whatever it takes for you to give yourself some importance. So you do that. You deserve that.
You don't have to be. Sorry, you don't have to be going. You don't have to be going through something as major as cancer to prioritize yourself, right? You're allowed to prioritize yourself, normal day-to-day living.
Exactly. We should. We deserve it. We are worth it. We can have this. We should be looking after ourselves. Allah's given us a body. We need to look after it. The soul, the body, everything we need to look after in order to give others. You got to fill your cup to give others.
Yeah. So I suppose from that, I would actually maybe think about, okay, so actually thinking about how I'm taking care of my body, how I'm taking care of my emotions and mental health, and also how I'm taking care of my spiritual health as well. So looking at all three areas in my life and actually taking control and taking some time out to make sure that all three health, physical, mental, and spiritual, are being given time.
Yeah. The other thing I would say is it's not your fault. A lot of people will. I mean, I've had people ask, what happened? Why did that happen to you? I would say that's something that you shouldn't really ask, because it's not my fault. It's nobody's fault. It's God's will. He's given it to you for a reason. He's got a plan. So it's not your fault. Just remember that it's not your fault. And open up if you can. I mean, I opened up with writing. But whatever your way is, be open, because if we suffer by ourselves, I mean, opening up, prayers is huge, that you get everybody's prayers for you, and you don't know whose prayers. Everyone's prayers collectively helps. But also for your own mental state, if you open up, I feel like it helps. It helped me. I feel like it helps if you open up somehow, whatever it is. It could be one person that you talk to. Don't suffer in silence. Actually, that reminds me of the Hujjat cancer support group that there is. So if they're in the community, it's a group that they've set up to help people who are diagnosed with cancer. Contact them if anything else. If you don't want to talk to anybody else, contact them. They will guide you.
And it'll be all done confidentially as well, obviously.
Absolutely, absolutely confidentially. And I mean, I'm also open to talk if anybody wants to talk to me. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Sorry, just going back to what you said about not blaming yourself. I think that's really, really powerful, because a lot of the times we're told that things happen because of what we've done. So, oh, I must have done lots of, sins in my life, or I must have done something really awful for God to punish me. Again, it doesn't work like that. I think, if God, it's not God's punishment, but maybe if it is for cleansing our soul, then it's a good thing. But it may just be to bring us closer to him because we've moved away from him. So rather than a punishment, it's actually out of his love and mercy that he's doing that for us. So I don't know, when I look at people like you, I actually think, my God, you must be so close to God that God actually has taken time out to want to bring you, to give you that special attention, to bring you closer to him, even closer to him, because you have that strength to be able to do that. And you're way ahead on your journey than someone like me, where it's like I don't know, I see it as a very much a positive thing, and I think that's beautiful that you've said, don't blame yourself. It's not,
And
it's
everybody
God's
has
love.
their own, everyone has their own journey, so it's not that my journey is harder than your journey or anything like that. God is fair, and he gives you things to deal with, but he also gives you the tools to deal with them. So take it on.
And he's doing it out of his love, not his
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely closer to him now than I was last year.
Alhamdulillah.
It's forced me
Also,
to be closer to him.
Alhamdulillah. You also mentioned Hujjat, cancer support, which is available to anyone. You don't have to just be from Hujjat to access that. And amazing group of people who are volunteering to help people who have any kind of cancer. So please get in touch with them if you need to. And obviously, it's a group which is, it's all confidential, run by people who have been trained in this. So yeah, that's amazing. Sorry. So far, you've told us to take time out for ourselves, physically, mentally, and spiritually, not to blame ourselves, but to actually look at it as God's love and mercy, and the fact that whatever he gives you tools to handle.
And
Sorry,
I'd say
help.
be with people who make you happy. Do things that make you happy, especially during this, especially if you're going through a really hard time. It's not selfish to take yourself away from negativity if it's getting you down.
What if you're not able to take yourself out of the negativity, because there may be people that are in your life who are family members who you can't sort of just walk away from, who are negative? What would you advise them?
I think find something that you do for yourself. So, for example, with meditation, I discovered meditating this year. Just taking time out for yourself to make sure that you're giving yourself that almost, I don't know, that strength somehow to deal with anything, or in one ear out the other kind of thing. It's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard. It is really
I think
hard.
it's that calmness, right, that you get from sort of meditating and actually connecting to Allah, that you can actually then deal with the negativity because it doesn't affect you as much than if you're drawn into it.
Yeah, that's right. I think every morning when like everyone, I'm sure it's the same case. When you get up every morning, I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to even your own stuff to just get yourself together. So I do some meditation in the morning. I don't do it every day, and I at the moment I've not been very good, but it helps, and I can tell a difference in the way that I can react to things, approach people, things in my life. If I've done that in the morning and I've filled my own cup, then I can deal with things so much better. Even with my kids, just in life, everybody, I guess if we make time to fill our own cups, then it's just easier to handle any situation.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think with meditation, it actually allows you to sort of take control of your own emotions, your sort of mind, and so therefore it helps with your salah as well, right? You're able to concentrate much more.
Yeah, so I've kind of incorporated it with prayer. So alhamdulillah, we've been given the 5 daily prayers that we're meant to do. So I've incorporated it in that, because I'm sitting on the salah praying anyway, and then I kind of incorporate the meditation in it as well.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Anything else that you'd like to say last minute before we end?
I think we're good. I think I'm
No,
good.
you've
Yeah.
absolutely been amazing. Thank you so much for taking time out and actually sharing your story so honestly and so openly with us. Thank you so very much. I would like to actually just take a minute out here for everyone that's watching, wherever you are, and anyone who watches this in the future. If we can recite a Surah Fatiha, which is a surah which is known to cure any kind of illness that's out there. If we can just recite a Surah Fatiha for Nishat and for anyone else who's going through any sort of physical illness, mental illness, or even spiritual illness, which I'm sure we all are going through to a certain extent. So if we can just recite a Surah Fatiha, please. Thank you so much again, Nishat, for joining us on Real Talk.
Thank you. Thank you.
Such an eye-opener. I'm just going to put your your blog address again because someone's asked for it. So I'm just going to put it on the screen so people can actually see it. So that's Nishat's blog for anyone who wants to who wants to read her blog at all. Please join me next week where I will be talking to Sajda Panju, who will be talking about her ticket to Jannah and how having an extra special baby unexpectedly changed their lives for the better. And she will be talking about it from before the delivery through to the delivery and then after as well. So please join me next Sunday at 7:30, inshallah. Again, thank you, Nishat, for joining us today.
Thank you, Masala. Thank you.
Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.